What's up, you guys? Got a real quick one today. And I'm watching the movie Think and Grow Rich. I mentioned this in a recent video. And as I'm watching it, I'm watching all the speakers that they're interviewing. One of the women on there that they're interviewing, she says that the most common thing that she's seen in her entire life for successful people, the most common trait that they all have, is that they have an inability to feel sorry for themselves. And she says when most people meet with opposition, they meet challenges in their lives, they feel sorry for themselves. And this quote is very well stated by Winston Churchill, where he says, "Success is the ability to go from failure to failure without losing enthusiasm." You can think about this. Anybody that you've seen, anybody that when we talk about using the law of attraction, the law of assumption, Neville Goddard's teachings, using your mind to create the reality that you want, using your mind to generate that feeling of the wish fulfilled and living in that end and attracting that circumstance into your life, that's also an act of persistence. The universe operates on momentum. You have to have momentum. Every single time that you allow yourself to feel sorry for yourself, that you allow yourself to lose that enthusiasm towards your goal, towards your desire, you are allowing that to stop, that momentum to stop. There's a break, and now there's inertia. And every time you break up that momentum, it'll take longer and longer. The process is then extended because it takes that constant persistence, that repetition. And so whether it is that you are just doing your imaginal acts, whether you're doing your affirming, if you're allowing those thoughts to creep in, and don't get me wrong, because everybody, including, the most successful people that they're talking about on this movie, has those thoughts of doubt, thoughts of fears. The difference is they have the ability to feel the fear and do it anyways and to keep going. And they don't get caught up in that. They might be aware that they're having these negative thoughts, but they keep going. They keep pushing on ahead. They don't allow themselves to stew in these negative emotions and feel sorry for themselves, really, genuinely. So this could maybe be a little bit of tough love, but think about it. This is purely to empower yourself. It's not any sort of, you're never allowed to feel sorry for yourself and putting the blame and pointing the finger at anybody. No. When you remove this as a approach to failure or to rejection, when you completely remove this, why did this happen to me? And if only things were easier. Yes, I know, if only things were easier. The fact of life is that it's not always easy. It can be easy, but it's not always. Sometimes the bridge of incidents is strewn with thorns, and looking back only in retrospect do you realize that these things had to occur, right? Sometimes the road can be painful. It can be strugglesome. It can be arduous. But do you have that ability? Do you have that tenacity? Do you have that ability to go from failure to failure without a lack of enthusiasm? Because that is, according to this lady in this movie, and I've already watched the movie. I was trying to find the clip, but I don't know her name, but that is, in her mind, the biggest trait, the biggest commonality in all the people that she's seen that achieve massive amounts of success, is this inability to feel sorry for themselves, this ability to go from failure to failure without lack of enthusiasm, without losing enthusiasm. Anyways, guys, it's a little golden nugget that is going to help you along your journey. It's key. It is key. It is of such importance that you realize what I'm talking about and use this. And every time, just remember that quote. your ability to go from failure to failure without lack of enthusiasm. And it goes back to this other book that I mentioned about on a previous video recently, the video I did about Dan Coe. I'm not sure how to pronounce his last name, and there's a book called Go for No. And in this book, this guy realizes, he's a salesman, and he realizes when his manager tells him, what did the guy say no to? Because he made this massive sale of all these clothing. He's working at a department store, and at the time it was thousands and thousands of dollars, which was back in the 70s, which today would have been like tens of thousands of dollars. But he kept selling him, but he said, what did the guy say no to? And he thought about it, and he said, I don't know. So he never got a no. And then he realized, you know what, I need to, rather than looking for all the yeses that I'm getting, looking for all the positives, the sales, the yes responses, I need to go for no. I need to go until I get a no. And then when I have a quota of no's, when I fill up my quota of no's and I get 500 no's, let's say, he realized he made way more sales. He was getting way more success, way more results than when he was going for the number of yeses that he had written down as his goal. Anyways, guys, it's very, very powerful. This whole idea, this whole ability to move from failure to failure without losing enthusiasm, the inability to feel sorry for yourself. Very powerful. So I'm gonna leave this off with that, and let me know what you guys think. Do you guys have you guys heard this quote before from Winston Churchill? Have you guys watched the movie Think and Grow Rich or read the book? I'd be curious as well. It's a very classic in terms of self-development, self-help. Napoleon Hill is looked at as one of the OGs in the space. Obviously, we got Neville coming at this whole idea of getting the results that you want, creating the results in your reality from a more spiritual, metaphysical perspective. And then we have Napoleon Hill, though there is a lot of overlap. If you had a Venn diagram, Napoleon Hill also talks about autosuggestion. He also talks about affirming. They also talk about a lot of the same stuff. They just come at it from slightly different angles. But anyways, guys, thank you for watching. Drop me a like, drop me a comment, hit me with a subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next video.